The more you explain, the weaker you appear, the more you react. The more power you give away, and the harder you try to prove yourself, the more you reveal how deeply someone's touched your emotions. Be honest. In this noisy world, silence isn't passivity, it's a strategy. When your words are twisted, when truth becomes a weapon, when your reactions fuel their amusement, it's no longer a conversation, but a psychological game. The louder you get, the more you lose. But here's the surprise. You don't need to fight back, shout to be heard, or explain to prove you're right. All you need is one thing: silence and time. Because when you pause, the universe starts working. You stay quiet, but the truth doesn't. It has a pull like gravity, always returning to its rightful place. In this video, we'll explore 7 moments when a wise person chooses absolute silence, not out of fear, but from strength to protect their energy, preserve their dignity, and let others face the consequences of their actions. You don't need to raise your voice or fight to win. Silence is not the absence of words, but the presence of control. Stay with us until the final chapter, because it will transform how you view silence forever. Nothing feels more unjust than being falsely accused. Your instinct is to argue back, set the story straight, and prove you're not what they claim. But here's the hard truth: no one is waiting for your explanation. The more you defend, the more doubt you invite, the more you seek clarity, the more chaos they create. Those who spread rumors aren't after truth. They crave your reaction. They want to rattle you, see you falter, and watch you perform your innocence so they can twist it into guilt. That's the trap. Reacting means you've already lost. This is where Stoicism shines. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it's not true, don't say it. If it's not right, don't do it." That's it, no pleading, no justifying. Live by your integrity, not their version of your story. Truth has something lies, never will staying power. Lies spread fast, but fade quickly. Truth takes time, but it doesn't need defending. It reveals itself. Let me share a story. A man named James faced false accusations at work for something he didn't do. Whispers spread, and colleagues began to distance themselves. His first urge was to clear his name, but instead, he chose silence. He stayed calm, did his work well, and let his actions speak. Weeks later, the truth came to light. The accusers' schemes unraveled, exposed by their own lies, while James, by never reacting, kept his dignity intact. He rose above the noise, his honor untouched. That's the power of Stoicism. So how do you respond when someone lies about you? First, trust the long game. Lies are loud, but truth endure. Let time do its quiet work. Second, hold fast to your own values. When you know who you are, outside, noise can't harm you. Third, let consequences catch up naturally. Liars often trap themselves in their own drama, digging their own graves. Finally, silence isn't surrender, it's self-respect. You're not hiding, you're rising above the noise. Pettiness and lies, let them talk, let them spin, and let truth do what it always does: return. Betrayal doesn't just hurt, it shakes the ground beneath you. It comes from those you trust: friends, family, loved ones. It feels like your chest is caving in. Your first instinct is to confront, demand answers. or beg for reasons. But here's the harsh reality. Those who betray you have already justified it in their minds. They don't see their fault, or worse. They see it, and don't care. The more you chase closure, the deeper you cut your own wounds. When someone betrays you, what they really want is your energy, your pain, your confusion, your reaction. Why? Because it gives them power, proving they matter to you. So what happens when you give them nothing? No anger, not revenge, just silence. They lose not just your words, but your essence. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a person perfected without trials." Betrayal is that friction. It hurts, but it clarifies what's real, what's convenient, and forces you to face a hard truth. Not everyone you love will stay. Let me share another story. Sarah had a best friend for over a decade. They shared dreams, doubts, and victories. But one day, Sarah learned her friend had betrayed her, spilling secrets and undermining her success out of envy, insecurity, or ego. At first, Sarah wanted to confront her, to pour out her hurt and make her friend feel the pain. Instead, she chose silence. No arguments, no drama, just a quiet exit. And you know what? Her friend expected a fight, braced for chaos, but got only absence. That silence haunted her, because silence carries a weight that echoes louder than words. When betrayal strikes, here's how to stand strong. First, accept who they really are. Not the version you believed in. That person is gone. Second, don't waste words on someone who undervalues you. They've already chosen to ignore what matters. Third, walk away without explaining. Silence forces them to reflect, something betrayers avoid. Finally, you're not the one who lost. They lost someone loyal, genuine, and rare. Let them live with that loss, not through punishment, but through your absence and peace. Cheap insults are the weapons of the weak. When someone mocks or attacks you, they're not speaking truth. They're trying to provoke. They want your reaction to validate their actions. If you snap back, yell, or defend yourself, you've handed them what they want: control over you. Here's what most miss. You don't need to win an argument. You just need to refuse their game. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." Read that again. When attacked, they want you to sink to their level. But a Stoic stays above the fray, unshaken, observing calmly, unmoved by the noise. Let me share a story. David, a man who earned a well-deserved promotion, faced a jealous colleague at a company event. The colleague sneered in front of everyone. "Guess anyone can get promoted now." All eyes turned to David, waiting for his response. But he didn't argue or defend himself. He met the colleague's gaze, smiled calmly, and stayed silent. In that moment, David didn't just win, he owned the entire battlefield. Because silence strips power from the attacker, and nothing frustrates an insulter more than being ignored. So how do you handle insults? First, see their intent. They don't want truth. They want to disrupt your peace. Don't let them. Second, let your calm speak for you: a steady face, a quiet voice. That's a message stronger than words. Third, stand firm. Confidence doesn't argue. Self-respect doesn't explain. By refusing to stoop, you leave them with nothing to grip. Finally, You don't need a loud comeback. Master your silence instead. True strength doesn't shout, and the sharpest response to an insult is indifference. Some people don't want resolution, they crave attention. They play the victim, twist the truth, erase their role, amplify drama, and suddenly you're the villain. The more you explain, the worse it gets, because to others, you look like the aggressor attacking a suffering soul. They flip the script. You're the bully. They're the misunderstood saint. This isn't a conflict, it's a performance. And you've been cast as the enemy. Stoic wisdom warns us of this trap. Epictetus said, "Complaining is always useless and never fitting." Those playing the victim don't cry for solutions, they cry for sympathy. Defending yourself only makes their act more convincing. The only way to win is silence. Let me tell you about Rachel, a woman whose colleague always twisted the truth. Whenever held accountable, this colleague would cry, dodge, and shift blame. Rachel tried presenting evidence, explaining facts, but it never worked. In a public battle, emotions often trump reason when arguments drag on. Eventually, Rachel stopped fighting. She embraced stoic silence. And over time, the truth surfaced. People began to notice a pattern. This colleague always had a sob story, a new enemy, a fresh injustice. The act fell apart. So how do you deal with a fake victim? First, don't defend yourself. They're not listening. They're performing. And the audience loves drama. Don't fool it. Second, keep emotional distance. Observe. Don't engage. And let them drown in their own chaos. Third, trust time and repetition. Their habits will expose them. Finally, you owe no explanation to those who profit from confusion. Let them play their role, chase their audience, and follow their script. Their show will end, and your silence will be the curtain that falls. The greatest insult isn't their words, it's their indifference. You show up, give, care, call, text, and get nothing back. Silence, apathy, coldness, no explosion, no loud betrayal, just a slow fading of your value in their eyes. Here's the painful truth. The harder you try to prove your worth, the less they see it. People don't value what's always there. They only cherish what they fear losing. When you're always present, always reaching out, you become background noise in their world. Not indispensable, but invisible. This is where Stoicism hands you back control. Seneca said, "Time discovers truth." Sometimes, that truth is revealed through your absence. Let me tell you about Jake, a steadfast man, always checking in, remembering birthdays, asking about your day. But he noticed something. No one checked on him. No one reached out unless he did first. When he stopped calling, days of silence stretched into weeks. That's when he realized he wasn't valued, just convenient. Jake made a bold choice. No arguments, no explanations. He simply stopped. The result, those who truly cared reached out, while those who didn't faded away. That was his answer. So, when your worth is ignored, what do? First, stop chasing them. If they don't see your value when you're there, let them feel it when you're gone. Second, stay silent. Let their lack of effort expose what they've taken for granted. Your absence makes your value undeniable. Third, watch who steps up. The ones who matter don't need reminders. They'll notice your change and draw closer, not drift away. Finally, don't prove your worth through effort. Prove it through distance. Those worthy of your energy will feel your silence. Those who aren't never deserved it. Some people don't seek peace. They want a reaction. They provoke, taunt, and say things they know will hurt. Not because they're brave, but because it's their only way to feel powerful. If you waver, they win. If you argue, they gain strength. If your emotions flare, they've got you. The truth, many miss their goal isn't conflict, it's control. They want to break your composure and make you dance to their tune. But Stoicism is your shield. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Grasp this, and you'll find strength." That's the essence of self-mastery. You can't stop their provocations, but you can deny them what they crave most. Your reaction. Let me share a story. Adam had a colleague who thrived on chaos. Every meeting, every interaction brought a jab, a sly insult, or a veiled dig, vague enough to dodge blame. At first, Adam fought back. Argued, explained, leaving each encounter drained. Then he shifted. The next time his colleague provoked, Adam met his eyes, gave a calm nod, and said nothing. No glare. No tension, just indifference. The result, his colleague was thrown off, used to sparking fire. He didn't know what to do when the match wouldn't light. Eventually, he gave up without fuel. Even the most toxic flame dies out. So, how do you handle provocation first? Spot the pattern. Their repetition reveals their motive. It's not personal. It's a tactic. Second, hold your ground. Don't let their bait pull you off course. Control your breath, your voice, your presence. When they dismiss you, overlook your worth, or assume you'll always be there, your departure makes their oversight deafening. They start to recall how you listened, how you showed up, how you gave more than you took. They realize they didn't just lose a person, they lost a presence, a light, a steady anchor. But by then, it's too late. Here's what you must know. If someone only values you when you're gone, they never truly valued you when it mattered. And the worst thing you can do is return just because they finally see. Epictetus said, "No one is free who doesn't master themselves." Mastery means this. You don't go back to places that hurt you. You don't lower your standards to ease their guilt. You don't explain your silence. It speaks for itself. Let me tell you about Olivia, a woman who poured everything into her relationship: time, love, energy. Her partner grew careless, dismissive, taking her presence for granted. One day, Olivia walked away, no shouting, no tears, just a quiet exit. At first, her partner shrugged it off. Then weeks passed. Then months, with unanswered calls and a void he hadn't realized he needed. He begged, apologized, promised change. But Olivia had already begun healing. Her silence became her freedom, a testament to her strength and self-respect. So, what do you do when someone regrets losing you? First, don't let them back easily. If your value was invisible before, your absence must be unmistakable now. Second, resist explaining. Let them feel the weight of their actions without your words softening it. Third, stay resolute in your silence. Not out of spite, but out of self-respect. They had access to you once and squandered it. Now let them face that truth alone. You don't owe them a second chance. You owe yourself peace. You don't need to shout to be heard, fight to win, or speak to prove yourself. In a world hooked on noise, silence is bold. It's not weakness or surrender. It's the language of those who don't need validation. By staying silent, you reclaim your power. Step out of their traps and let time, truth, and consequences finish the story. You don't need to write. A Stoic doesn't chase approval, beg for closure, or crumble under noise. They step back and let the universe do what it does best, restore balance. So, the next time someone lies, betrays, insults, provokes, or regrets, don't react. Don't explain. Don't perform. Just watch and wait. Consequences don't need your help. They just need your silence. If this message resonates deep within you, if you've found truth in these words, don't just move on. Subscribe to Think Stoic 101, where strength is quiet, wisdom is sharp, and every word carries lasting value. If you know someone who needs this message, share it with them. Let it ripple outward, or let your silence carry its echo and pass it on.